Hi, I'm Harry Humphreys. I'm here standing with my buddy Marshall Teague. I'm in the entertainment business as a technical advisor for military shooting and so on and so forth. And of course, I think we all recognize my buddy over here as an action hero in many films. What we're going to do today is to simply show you some of the obvious mistakes that a guy like myself, who is tasked with trying to make these guys look professional, deals with when he deals with some of these actors. First thing we learn is to speak between the shots, and that's very difficult in itself. So first thing we'll do is we'll both draw our weapons and we'll clear our weapons. As you can see, our weapons are clear, magazines are out. Return. So what does that mean? That means the first thing we teach is safety. In our industry, many people have been killed even though they were shooting blanks. Blanks are dangerous, they generate energy, and they can throw garbage out of a barrel. We are very, very careful in teaching our actor students that they are firing real weapons. Today, obviously, we're here in the midst of one of my shooting courses. We have two ranges firing on either side, so please forgive the noise in the background. We'll try to speak in the lull. All right, if you will, Marshall, let's show us some of the beauties that you've seen in your career, and what I'll do is try to explain to the audience what's wrong about it and what we would do to correct it.
One of the most common ones is the one we're seeing nowadays is, we call it the gangster pull. Now, I'm going to demonstrate by pulling the weapon and act like I'm going to shoot it this way.
Okay, very cool looking, and believe me, I've seen it 1,000 times. It's totally impossible for this guy to shoot anything. The only thing that would happen here is he would be lucky or unlucky, whatever the case may be, and shoot somebody down the street other than the target. Do not think for 1 minute that this is an effective way to fire the weapon. In order to fire this weapon, the shooter must first have a proper grip. We have today the modern shooting technique, which is called the Weaver grip. Strong hand holding the weapon, weak hand supporting it with the elbow bent down slightly. The weapon is aligned in line with the bone of the forearm. The recoil is controlled by the isometric tension between the two hands, so when this gun recoils, the weapon is under control. As you can see, this thing isn't going anywhere. His second shot's going to be right on. He is looking through the rear sight, focusing on the front sight, and the target, of course, is center of mass of his target, and that is ghosted or faded. That is what is clear in his vision, front sight open. He presses slowly on the trigger. Very slowly, he gets what we call a surprise break. It goes off before he realizes it. Therefore, he can't anticipate it and cause a muscular reaction before the shot, which would throw the round off. Back to the holster.
Second one would be the Wyatt Earp pull.
Again, we've lost control. We've whipped the weapon out. If we can do that again in slow motion, you'll see the path of the weapon. Flies out, weapon's in the air. All this is dead time. There is absolutely no time as that weapon is under control on the target. The draw would be weak hand on the stomach, strong hand gripping the weapon. Weapon is cleared. And then he takes the weapon and he points it downrange. He's ready for the shot now if somebody's coming at him. No lost time, he's ready to go. Secondly, he smacks and comes up for the look. As he's coming up for the look, all this time the weapon is ready for a shot. In 0.4 seconds, he was ready for the shot. Wyatt Earp would still be whipping his gosh darn weapon around. He's ready, he's probably taken 2 shots and ready to go back to the holster by now. Back to the holster.
The next one is how they enter a room. I love this one, Harry, because this always gives everybody that dynamic moment. When they draw the weapon, they enter the room and the gun is right here. Wow. God, doesn't that just make you tense?
And the bad guy is right here, and as he points the gun into the room, bad guy comes around the corner and takes the gun away, or underneath. What we do here is we teach a technique which is peculiar to our system. It's called CQB, or we've changed that to immediate action. And the technique is, Marshall will take the weapon as he enters this corner, he will be in a retention mode. In other words, the weapon will be back by his waist. Okay, he's making the turn. He's got a block right here. Weapon is ready to fire. If he runs into anybody, first thing they're going to see is this. Hopefully he'll be able to deal with it non-lethally. If he can't, he takes the shot. But the weapon cannot be captured because of this position, retention position.
When people run down the street like this, you'll see them running down the street like this. There is nothing they can do, period. There's nothing they can do. If you're going to be running a long way, I think Harry will agree with this, if you know you've got to make chase, put that weapon up. Get it down here. That's one way. Harry?
Absolutely correct. And as you approach the target, you will go to the draw. You're close enough for the shot. You're in a chase situation. Perhaps you want to drop to a knee. You have a relatively long shot. You'll drop to a knee. 25-yard shot from that position. He is braced in a triangular position. This is called the brace knee position. Triangular brace, toe, knee in the back, front toe in the front. One triangle, 3 points of strong foundation. He's ready to shoot. He doesn't have to run that bullet and go very fast.
Now, the one thing you'll see done more than anything actors do, because I guess they think it looks cool, I have no idea. They'll pull their gun like this. And the first thing they're doing is crossing their body with the muzzle. And what's our main rule we have?
Never point the weapon at anything you're not willing to destroy. The best shooters will have what we call an ND, a negligent discharge. It's not an accidental discharge, it's a negligent discharge. Weapons don't go off by themselves, people make them go off. That's negligence. What you have seen demonstrated is the weapon coming from behind, covering the liver, covering the side, covering the gut, and then ultimately up to the shot, okay? Well, what's happened is the most dangerous period of the encounter is the draw. This is when you have least control of your muscular or sympathetic muscular reaction. This is when ADs or NDs occur. When you're pulling it out, trying to get a position, you're not quite sure where the trigger is, you're not quite sure where you are, and you're squeezing muscles you shouldn't be squeezing. Perhaps your trigger finger. And that's when we get these ADs or NDs. And this is why that draw is so bad. The draw should always be from the holster, never covering anything. Clearing, downrange, punching, and out, okay? At no time did my muzzle cover any part of my body or anything else I wasn't willing to destroy. The one thing that I cannot tolerate and will not be involved with will be these sensational features that are very entertaining, don't get me wrong, but I'm not there to talk about what's cool. I'm there to talk about what's correct and what is the style that's used by the professionals today. If they're looking for that, then I'm hired. If they're not looking for that, then there's a lot of guys out there that'll show you all kinds of cool stuff that looks great but doesn't work in the real world.